Hello, my dear students of class 12. Welcome to your new session, to your new academic sphere, that is class 12, with new books, new issues and new classes. Anyway, in today's class I will teach you a story, a prose piece, a story, The Eyes Have It. The Eyes Have It by Ruskin Bond. I hope that probably you are familiar with the writer Ruskin Bond. In your earlier stages, you may have or might have read the story The Cherry Tree or The Most Beautiful by Ruskin Bond. This story, The Eyes Have It, is somewhat different from those early two stories, The Most Beautiful or The Cherry Tree. The eyes have it. In this story, Mr. Bond, Ruskin Bond, exploits a unique situational irony originating between two blind passengers in a railway compartment. What is situational irony? Now, unconscious of their own situation and everything is going on. Unconscious of the typical situation, everything is going on. And this happening may be a tragic one or may be a comic one. Unconscious of their situation. Here two passengers, both of them are blind. But ironically, both of them are unconscious of it. And they go on continuing, they go on conversing with each other, making verbal friendship with each other, covering their individual blindness, hiding tactfully, hiding skillfully their own blindness, and none of them cannot recognize one another's blindness unless the last passenger, towards the end of the story, the new passenger arrives and reveals the secret. That is an amusing one. The story is very amusing one. You will read it. How two blind passengers is tactful to hide their own defaults. Now I am reading out the story. I had the train compartment to myself up to Rohana. That is the name of the station. The narrator, he got up the compartment to myself, that means without anybody's help, to Rohana. Then a girl got in. That means after that, a girl passenger, a lady passenger also got into the train. The couple who saw her off were probably her parents. That means took a couple came to see off the girls. A couple came to see off the girl, and probably the couple are her friends. Are her parents. They seemed very anxious about her comfort, and the woman gave the girl detailed instructions as to where to keep her things. Just note, here another voice giving you the clue that the girl may be blind or may have some faults, because the woman, maybe her mother, was giving her detailed instructions where to keep her things and when not to lean out of the windows and how to avoid speaking to strangers, something and something. And these are general advices given by our parents to us while we are traveling alone in a compartment. In the second stanza, we see they called their goodbyes and the train pulled out of the station. That means the train began to move on. As I was totally blind at that time, my eyes sensitive only to light and darkness. The narrator confesses that he is blind and totally blind, sand blind, in another word, sand blind, and his eyes were only sensitive to light or darkness. From the darkness or from the shadow of the platform, the train came to the big light of the outside world, and he realized that the train is going to move on. I was unable to tell what the girl looked like. He was blind. He is confessing that he is very blind, and therefore he cannot tell whether the girl was beautiful or not. But I knew she wore slippers from the very way they slapped against her heels. That is, he is also sensitive to the sounds. He has no eyes, but he has the sixth eyes, that is called intuition. And from that intuition, from his special sensitivity to the sound, he realized that the girl wore slippers. It would take some time to discover some things about her looks, and perhaps I never would. That means there was a time gap, a time passed in between us to discover about her looks. But I like the sound of her voice, even the sound of her slippers. He cannot guess whether she was beautiful or not, but her voice was so sweet, even the sound of the slippers. And therefore, he began the conversation. Are you going all the way to Dera? That is Dehradun. Are you going all the way to Dera? I must have been sitting in a dark corner because my voice startled her. And from the gesture, from the movement and gesture she made, the narrator realized that the girl was startled. And it means, or it indicates that the narrator, where he was sitting, was not commonly visible. He must have sat in the corner of the compartment. She gave a little exclamation. That means she was startled and said, I did not know anyone else was here. She declared that she did not know anyone else there was. She is hiding that she is blind. She may have confessed, but she didn't. She tactfully manages her blindness. The girl passenger declared that she did not notice at all that someone was there. Now the narrator also made a tactics. He made a general comment that people with good eyesight sometimes fail to see in front of them. It is only because they have too much to take in, to notice, to take care of. But the people who are blind or slightly blind only take their essentials, and therefore they have little to look after by themselves, and therefore they can see or feel everything. They have too much to take in, I suppose. Whereas people who cannot see or have or very little to see have to take in only the essentials. Whatever registers most tellingly on their remaining senses. Whatever registers, a new word, registers. Registers means make an effect upon them, make an imprint upon them, upon their senses. I did not see you either, I said. Now the narrator also tactfully hides his blindness. I didn't see you either. Why does it happen? It is only because we want to hide our secrets, hide our own faults, our weak points. We do not want to disclose our weak points before the strangers. They may laugh at it, they may mock at those weaknesses, it may be, and therefore he also tactfully hides his blindness. I didn't see you either, I said, but I heard you come in. I wondered if I would be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind. Here is the situation, a humor of situational irony occurs. As he is blind, he cannot see that the girl passenger is blind. And therefore he fears that the girl passenger may discover his blindness. And yet he is asserting that he didn't see the girl passenger. He didn't see the lady. The lady may not be blind. And therefore the lady may discover his blindness. And therefore he was afraid. I wondered if I would be able to prevent her from discovering that I was blind. Provided I keep to my seat, I thought, it shouldn't be too difficult. Provided I keep to my seat, I thought it shouldn't be difficult. That means I should fixedly sit upon my place. Otherwise, it would not be very difficult to discover it. The girl said, I am getting off at Saharanpur. My aunt is meeting me there. Then what is the destination of the girl? The destination of the girl is Saharanpur. And there her aunt will come to meet her. Then I had better not get too familiar, I replied. Aunts are usually formidable creatures. That means the aunts are very curious as well as formidable, the persons with very much pragmatic personalities. Serious personalities and pragmatic personalities. Where are you going? She asked. To Dera, then to Mussoorie. Well, what is the destination of the narrator? Ultimately, Mussoorie, but he will live off at Dehradun. Oh, how lucky you are. I wish I were going to Mussoorie. But I have a longing to go to Mussoorie. I have a desire to go to Mussoorie. I love the hills, especially in October. That means I have a desire, I have a love for Mussoorie, the hills of the Mussoorie, especially in October. I wish that I would also go there. Thank you.